Hi Virgo. So I haven't had a voice at all for 3 or 4 days. The past 2 days I haven't spoken at all to anyone. I've done some like, hey, I'm okay, still can't talk kind of things. And this morning was the Virgo full moon. My natal moon is in Virgo. And I thought instead of the extended, let's do a full moon reading. And I wanted to talk to you about the truth. We've come to a point, dear Virgos. This is the 7 of Wands. We've come to a point where we will realize, probably happened last night, or will happen over the course of the next few weeks. We will realize that every lie we told ourselves to keep from feeling some pain or other actually was much more hurtful than the truth we were afraid to face. Telling the truth starts with being honest with yourself. And sometimes to keep from feeling rejected, betrayed, used, we lie to ourselves. But I wonder if we lie to ourselves because it is more detrimental than telling the truth, because it won't solve the problem, because solving the problem and truly changing is maybe too scary, maybe too painful. It's the King of Pentacles, the Scorpio card, and the Ace of Pentacles. Maybe the truth that we need to tell ourselves now is the only thing that matters, and every way that you behave with others will be an offshoot of that. You're coming into a season where people can really trust you, where you can really trust you. You're coming out of a period of deep hurt. It's not just feeling betrayed by a partner, lack of a partner. It's not just feeling betrayed by friends or family. It's a general sense of betrayal in regards to the world, in regards to how the world has treated you. It's a season of replacing that anguish with an overflowing cup. Well, how do I get there? Is there something I can do? Is there some way that I can rush there? With every truth you tell to yourself and to others, if you become absolutely immaculate with your word, if you stop trading in games and stop getting caught up in your internal dialogue, the world can change right underneath your feet, especially in ways, the world in the Chariot, that you really needed to change. If you felt blocked. The more I try, the less I'm getting. I don't know what the fuck is going on. The more I put myself forward, the more I feel is being taken from me. What is this? It's all meant to teach you how to focus your life moving forward. This is a big deal. It's the next 20 years. How to focus your life on some very critical truths. Let's start with your sense of self. That period of guessing, that period of pretending that you don't want what you want, it's over. It doesn't matter if it suits other people. It doesn't matter if you're living up to what you've been taught. You know what you want. It doesn't matter if it's unpopular with your friends. You know what you want. You know what you are. You know who you are. And a large part of that is acknowledging how important money is. The money that you make, but also the money that you're around, and also the money that you would want coming in from a partner. I don't think there will be any more compromising on that, nor should there be. There is a deep sense with the King of Pentacles, the Death card, and the Ace of Pentacles that you have embraced your need for financial security finally, and stopped seeing it as a flaw in yourself, perhaps because of the way society is set up now, or perhaps you've always been made to feel like you were too materialistic. Now you understand, or you've accepted finally, that materialism be damned. This is about security. You can't fathom emotional security without financial security. And now you don't have to. The next area of your life that changes radically is how much you're willing to give and how much you're willing to take. I don't think there's ever been a time where Virgos were more acutely aware of how empty their cup is, but also acutely aware of why. You've realized that there is no real give and take. There's just a lot of taking. You realize that any give and take that's happening is between you and yourself, and that's not going well. This situation, 9 of Swords, 2 of Pentacles, 8 of Swords, this situation needs an outside hand. It needs someone to come in and pour some love on you. And I think you're ready for that. I think you've finally lost the ego and can acknowledge that for what it is. You don't see it as a weakness or a vulnerability. You're excited about the fact that you understand that somebody has to move this train along, and it's not going to be you. Your energy is being all used up right now by all the different parts of yourself that are changing, and you acclimating to them and getting to know them. Now, another area of your life where things are changing drastically has to do with self-worth. Now, you may think giving and taking, love, romantic love, isn't this the same thing? Absolutely not. One can lead to the other. Sure. You stop pretending this year that the work isn't what makes you feel more or less. You just accept the fact that the more or better or higher up the work is, the better you feel about yourself. There's no need to deny it any longer. You're not ashamed anymore. It just is what it is. It's another arena. It's another aspect of your life where telling the truth to yourself is so freeing. Yes, your sense of worth is tied to what you do, who you do it for, how well you do it. Yes, you need to feel important. You can chase and be ambitious and chase your dreams because it's not taboo for you to need to do that for your self-worth. Not anymore. And if that sounds weird or sad to anybody, you're willing to just not have a talk with them about it. There's no compulsion to you. You're not trying to criticize someone else into doing what you want. That's the old you. In fact, you don't have a lot of criticism for anyone. There's no truth in it. You don't need to do it anymore. There's no truth in it. Not that the things you were saying weren't legitimate or valid before, or that criticism, even when done out of self-defense, wasn't, astute. But there's no emotional truth in it anymore for you, and that's where you're at. If it's not necessary, it's none of your business. You're cool with that. And you don't have time. It doesn't matter what other people are doing or how well they're doing it or not. You're very aware of what you're doing and why you're doing it. And there's something so liberating about being able to say it how it is, and for your motivations to be clear, perhaps not traditional, perhaps motivations that in the past you would have been afraid to share. But now it feels okay. You can say to somebody, I need to have a better job, or I need to get this promotion, or I need to work on getting X, Y, and Z, or this many sales, or this much business, because it does wonders for my self-esteem. There is no need to further provide any caveat to that, or any, validation of that. Like, you don't have to legitimize that by saying anything more. You're done with all of that. You're done with explaining why certain things make you happy, why some things raise your value in your own eyes, why you need more from your relationships, from your friendships, from your hobbies. You have become overnight. Remember what Missy said, overnight success takes 10 years. You have become very aware and radically accepting of self. Your value has skyrocketed as you've decided to be truthful with others and with yourself, you being the main and largest beneficiary of this new way of being. A lot of the time, if Virgo doesn't tell you the truth, it's because they're trying to spare your feelings. But this change is very interesting. It's not a critical change. It's not like all of a sudden you won't be sparing people's feelings. It's not like you're going to use it, High Priestess, as a way to be a dick. Quite the opposite. You realize there's such an easier way to share what you know, to be helpful, which is what you're trying to do anyway, and to make a name for yourself. Again, unapologetic ambition. And the way to do it is this high priestess energy. So let's talk about it, because it's in some ways, it's deceptively simple. High priestess energy. Hold on, I'm going to smoke a bowl. I'll be right back. Okay, let's talk high priestess energy. So it's the full moon, right? We're feeling the effects. I'm wearing this for a reason. High priestess was the vibe to start with, and now we're here. And it is really the key to all the... Okay, high priestess energy. It's deceptively simple in that I can explain it to you in one sentence, but the embodiment of that one sentence is quite complex. So, essentially, it is taking a step back from the rhythm of give and take of the world. It is stepping outside of transactional living. You can do as you want. You can go where you want. You can say what you want. As long as it's not done with an expectation of getting something back. The understanding of the high priestess is that the world is a world of transaction. Whether it's you speaking to somebody, buying or selling, working, loving even. The understanding is that everything is predicated on mutual benefit, which I know Virgos understand probably more than anyone. But what happens outside of the give and take? What happens if we take one step back? We understand now that when we step back from the world, our vision opens up, and perhaps the blinders that we wear to get through life are there simply to shield the transactional nature of the world from our quite sensitive hearts. But the high priestess's heart is open. The high priestess doesn't fear for her vulnerability because she's outside of that exchange now. She can be open. She can be completely vulnerable because she doesn't want anything. She doesn't need anything. She can say what she wants. She can do what she wants because she's not expecting anything in return. It is total freedom. It is that phase of the moon where you can ask for what you want. Because you're not expecting to get it from a person. You're not expecting that job to fulfill you. Remember, it's the high priestess. You're not expecting that person to give you worth. You're not expecting that attention from that person, from that job, because of that money to make you feel good. The high priestess has taken her concerns and given them up to a higher authority. That higher authority is now providing all of those self-worth boosts that Virgos live for. I'll try not to be cynical, but let's be realistic. All Virgos have a roster, most Virgos, let's say, of people that they can hit up as they want to get a little ego boost. And up until now in your life, I'm sure that has actually worked out pretty well. Most of us, when we're on your self-worth roster, don't even know it. It's quite a realization when you do find out. But the high priestess has relinquished her roster. She doesn't need any artificial, externalized catalysts anymore to get her self-worth going or to keep her self-worth at a very stable level. That is now being provided from everything being handed over. Because think about it. If you're going to step out of the transactional world, then who are you expecting to provide all that that world does for you? Who are you expecting to provide that? That now becomes the domain of a higher authority, thus the priestess moniker, right? This is someone who not only is reliant upon God, but has stepped back into the non-dual, stepped back from the duality. There's the transactional nature of the world, the zeros and ones of it all. But back behind that, with religious scripture in hand, the high priestess says, I don't need this world. I understand something more now. I understand how my needs and my value can be met and matched outside of the material world that I have held so dear for so long. So, it's as if Virgo hit their head against that brick wall long enough, and now, at this very critical full moon, the wall finally broke, and you finally get your way, which is maintaining, and accelerating a very healthy sense of self and purpose and drive without any interruptions and without being dependent on anyone or anything outside of your connection with your divine, whatever that may be. But make no mistake, the high priestess is only as powerful as she is and can only affect the sort of subtle power that she does because she understands that she's not the one that's in control. The high priestess is about giving over control, not about giving over your wants. It's not about not having desires. This isn't a monk. This isn't a nun. It's about understanding that the more you allow yourself to be imbued with divinity, that the stepping back from the world is tantamount to imbuing yourself with divinity. And then that divinity takes care of you. And how many of you, big full moon question now, okay? How many of you have ever really felt taken care of? I think it's a generational thing. I think the past few generations of Virgos actually have had to raise themselves because their parents just were not sensitive enough. And I think it's been pretty hard. You seem like a sign of kids who raise themselves. And I know I'm like exacerbating old wounds here, but it's exciting to think that you might feel taken care of, isn't it? It's exciting to think that from the pain there can be justice, and from the justice one can find oneself. You have the Queen of Pentacles, the Ten of Swords, justice. And then there's you. And it's the full moon. That is this quote that I love. It's never too late to have a happy childhood. At different points in my life, I think I've known what that meant. But like any great thing, it evolves with time. I think what it means is that as you evolve and grow and you recognize the things you needed that you didn't have and you give them to yourself, truly give them to yourself, I think there is some balance restored, and you can truly be the person that you would have been if you had gotten all that love and care and attention and consideration. Excuse me. And if you're thinking, well, I never got that, so I don't know how to give it, not to anybody else and not to myself. Well, I'm not going to say that it isn't a long road, but you're pretty fucking smart. And as you continue doggedly to tell the truth to others and to yourself, and you hold yourself to it, I think you will begin to find that although you may not have any experience with it personally, you are quite good at giving yourself what you need and at balancing those scales that perhaps have been imbalanced for a long time. What now may seem terrifying can actually bring you a lot of comfort. Tell people how you really feel. Tell people if you don't want to be with them. Tell people if you do want to be with them. Tell people what you really want to say, and for some reason or other you're just not able to do it, just tell them. Because as you step into this high priestess energy and everything becomes without transaction, you'll be so glad that you did. Say your truth and step back and see how the world digests it. See what happens next. Make some waves.